We've all heard of super expensive car manufacturers like Bugatti, Rolls-Royce, and Lamborghini selling their cars for hundreds of thousands of dollars. But what if we told you those are actually quite cheap when you compare them to some of the rare collector cars that have been auctioned off in the past? In this video, we'll be showing you some of the rarest cars in the world and their price tags that are sure to make your jaws drop. Here are the top 10 rarest and most expensive cars ever sold. Number 10. Ferrari 250 GT SWB California Spider. This was meant to be one of Ferrari's first forays into open-top 250 GTs. While 250 GTs are already known for their extremely high prices and their value as a collector's item, this one was particularly special because of its design and the fact that it still works as if it was new, despite being made in the 1950s. This car was bought by Robert Ballion for $18.5 million and is probably the only convertible Ferrari from the 1950s that's actually in such good condition. Number 9. Alfa Romeo 8C 2900B Lungo Spider. The Alfa Romeo 8C already has one of the most iconic and timeless designs of all time, and it would certainly be a dream for any collector to have. But this specific version of the 8C was designed to be the most luxurious car of its time. Since it was built, it's been sought after by many collectors and auctioneers and has been improved upon many times before it was eventually sold for $19.8 million at an auction in Monterey, California. Number 8. Jaguar DType. The Jaguar DType was one of the only non-Ferrari race cars in the 1950s that regularly dominated the competition, and as a result, it's one of the few non-Ferraris on our list. This particular car won the Le Mans race 3 years in a row from 1955 to 1957, being one of the most prestigious cars of all time. It was sold recently at an auction for $21.7 million. Number 7. The Aston Martin Bulldog. The Aston Martin Bulldog is not as expensive as our other top picks, but it is still very rare. The Bulldog was a concept car that was created in order to compete with the rise of Lamborghinis in the luxury sports car market in the 1970s. Clearly, the influences from Lamborghini were present in the design, but unfortunately, only the one concept model was ever produced. The car was sold for $1.3 million in 2011 and is still on the road somewhere in the world. Number 6. Icona Volcano Titanium. While upon first glance, the Volcano Titanium may seem like any other supercar concept from the 2010s, it's actually quite unique because it's the first car in the world that is made entirely out of titanium, which is an incredibly hard thing to morph into the shape of a car. It's almost impossible to get your hands on one of these, and even if it were available, very few people can afford the $3.8 million price tag. Number 5. Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita. If there was one true potential rival to the Bugatti Veyron in the hypercar market, it was this one. The CCXR Trevita had all the makings of a beast. Sporting a 4.8-liter V8 engine with 1018 brake horsepower, the car can go from 0 to 60 in a matter of 2.9 seconds. There were only 2 of these ever produced, making it incredibly rare. Just the sale price of the 2 was $4.8 million, and you can expect to pay a lot more if you want one now. Number 4. Mercedes-Benz W196. The Mercedes-Benz W196 holds the prestige for being the most expensive non-Ferrari car ever sold at $29.6 million. It gets its insane price tag because it was driven by the legend Juan Manuel Fangio, who drove the car to victory at the Swiss and German Grand Prix in 1954. It was once the most expensive car sold of all time. Number 3. Ferrari 335 Sport Scaglietti. This was the car to dethrone the Mercedes-Benz W196 after being sold for a staggering $35.7 million in 2016. This 335 was used by Maurice Trintignant and Peter Collins, two legends in the racing business, during the 1957 Sebring 12 Hours. When it was made, it was considered the fastest car in the world. Number 2. Ferrari 250 GTO. When we think of iconic Ferraris, the first car that probably comes to your mind is the Ferrari 250 GTO. Design elements from this car are still used in sports cars to this day. That's how iconic this is. This particular 250 GTO was sold for $48.4 million at an auction, making it the most expensive car ever sold at auction. This is one of the 36 models that were ever made. Number 1. The 1964 Tour de France Ferrari 250 GTO. While the previous 250 GTO may be the most expensive car ever sold at an auction, it's this very special 250 GTO that holds the title of the most expensive car ever sold and the most sought-after collector's car of all time. This car has a solid history behind it. It won the 1964 Tour de France and the 1963 Le Mans 24-Hour and was the most successful race car of the 1960s. It was privately sold by Christian Glacial to a private collector for $70 million, making it one of, if not the most prestigious car in the world. Well, that's a wrap for the top 10 rarest cars of all time. If you had a chance to drive one of these cars, which one would you choose? Let us know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. And we'll see you next time.